Shalom, 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 man. Welcome back. The hopeful elect back here for the Tuesday lesson, man. Hope you guys' week is going swell so far. If not, I hope and pray that it gets better. First and foremost, we want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of His only begotten Son, who is an instrument of salvation for the nation, right? Today's lesson is going to be entitled The Teacher Student Dynamic, right? The teacher student dynamic. I should have put a hyphen in between teacher and student, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Let's see. Uh, oh, snap, I'm tripping. I thought nothing, never mind. But I'm gonna go ahead and play the blown of the shofar with me today. I got brother Azrael and I got brother Obadiah. This playing of the blowing of the shofar is going to be done by brother Obadiah, which we have recorded. Come on, come on, man. Let's get this show on the road. So man, the teacher student dynamic, man, the teacher student dynamic. We're gonna dive in today what it really means to be the best student you can be, how to get the most out of learning, the most out of your teacher, right? Whoever and whomever that may be, right? What do I want to do first? Let me share my screen. We're gonna dive into the scripture first. We got one precept to set the stage. To set the stage, we'll get this precept first, and then I got a couple videos for you guys to watch. Ecclesiastes 5:1. If I can read, we can read from the top to the bottom.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 5, verse 1. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil.
Right, man. You in the teacher-student dynamic, man, you have to understand your role. You have to understand what you are asking, right? When you go to learn anything, right? Whether you be a student in the classroom, whether you be a player on a coach's team, right? It says, "Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God." Now we know this is talking spiritually, but you can apply it to life. It says so if you go into the classroom, if you go into a professor's classroom, keep thy foot when you go to your professor's classroom. When you're trying out for the basketball team, you made the team, that's the coach's gym. Keep thy foot when you go into the coach's gym, right? Keep thy foot when you're going to your husband, ladies, right? Keep thy foot when you're going to your parents, right? And be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools. Now, this is specifically talking about the teacher-student dynamic, right? So you go into these places to learn, right? If you're a player, you don't have it all figured out. That's why you have a coach. He should have he should have it figured out, right? We know there's some bad coaches out there. If you're a student in the classroom, you don't have it all figured out. That's why you're taking the class. If you had it all figured out, you wouldn't be taking the class, but you're going to the class and relying on the teacher to teach you, right? What does it mean by giving the sacrifice of fools? Your speech, right? You go into certain situations and you're asking to learn something from somebody, but you're giving the sacrifice of fools. Why? Because you're talking too much, man. Right? We all know people like this. They want to know the answer to something, but simultaneously they want to tell you what's going on, even though they're asking about what's going on. Right? You can't do both, man. You can't do both. I think Christ said, man, the blind can't lead the blind. If you're going to somebody for advice and to learn and to learn from them, right? You can't give the sacrifice of fools. Everybody knows the best way to be a student. When you go to school, everybody knows the best way to be a student is a few things, right? And we're going to cover them today. But one of them, right, when the teacher's talking, you shut up, right? You be quiet, right? Instead of, you know, combating things that you don't understand. What does the scripture say? I don't have this in my arsenal today, so I can paraphrase it. The scripture say, understand first and then rebuke. You don't go into something trying to learn, combating everything somebody's trying to teach you, like you got it all figured out. Another good attribute of a student is taking initiative. What does that look like? Taking initiative, right? Studying on your own and asking questions. If you're in a classroom, right, and you go to class and the teacher's doing their job and they're teaching everybody, if you don't understand anything, if you don't understand something, what's supposed to happen? Is the teacher supposed to read your mind and say, "Oh man, so and so he or she is not getting it, and I know they're not getting by the way they looked at me in class. So let me approach them." No, typically what happens is the students ask questions, whether that be within the class or after class, because what they say, one, they say the teachers, I mean, when you talk about uh, um, taking initiative, right? Another thing I was going to say is taking taking full control of all the opportunities presented to you, right? What does that look like? Sitting in the front of the classroom, being on time, being punctual, right? If you're really saying, hey man, I really want to learn this, I earnestly and diligently want to learn this, I genuinely want to learn this, you're going to take it serious, and that encompasses you being punctual. That encompasses you making the best out of every opportunity. But again, man, you want to be able to take initiative and ask questions. What does that look like after the class is over with? If you didn't, you should be taking notes during the class, right? So when somebody's teaching you, if you're being taught, if you're in a class setting, or even if you're not in a class setting, right? Somebody's just trying to teach you something. Take notes. If you don't have a pencil and a pad, you got your phone. If you don't got your phone, take mental notes, right? And then after the teaching is done, that's when you offer up your questions. Or when the teacher feels like he's covered enough, you know, in the classroom setting, I'm teaching. All right, let me stop. Does anybody have any questions? That's all. There's always going to be a time where the teacher pauses and allows you to ask your questions, right? It might not be as soon as you would like, but oftentimes it does come. So several things that we're going to dive into today. It shouldn't be a long lesson at all. Hopefully you guys can get what we're putting down. I got a few, really 3 videos, but depending on how the lesson goes, it's gonna be it might be 3, but I know 2 for sure. I'm gonna share the first one. I think you guys will get a kick out of this one. And let's see here. And I always do that. I always exit out of the screen. Boom. Right. Everybody, you know, not everybody, but you've probably seen this rendition of the Karate Kid. If not, you probably seen the old one. I was going back and I was looking at some of the clips, and it's some perfect teaching examples out of these clips, right? So I'm about to play this little short clip, and we'll dissect it a little bit. Fair use. Y'all let me know if you can hear it.
I put my jacket on 1,000 times. I took it off 1,000 times. Okay? This is stupid. I'm done. You know.
Hey man, so just right there, man, right? He said, man, I don't put my jacket on 1,000, because he's saying, man, you know, a lot of times when you're getting taught, while you're getting taught, it don't make sense, right? It don't make sense. And a lot of times you can get frustrated like the young man in this video clip. And in the new Karate Kid, it was putting on the jacket, taking it off, putting on the jacket, taking it off, picking up the jacket, putting it down, picking up the jacket, putting it down. In the old Karate Kid, what was it? You know, Brother Obadiah?
Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off. And at a time, The student got so frustrated, he said, "Hey man, look, I came to you to learn karate, not trying to learn how to wash cars, right?" So the student can get frustrated in things. This is, I'm not showing this to encourage you and let you know that it's all right to get frustrated. I'm encouraging you to what Kobe Bryant say, trust in the process without the frustration, right? So he's saying, hey man, I done put on this jacket and took it off 1,000 times, right? I don't know what you want me to do. I'm done. And this is how the teacher's looking, right? Teacher's looking like, man, you come to me, right? Asking me to teach you something. I'm teaching it to you, and you're telling me that you don't like the way I'm teaching it, but yet you like the way I orchestrate my craft, right? You acknowledge the fact that I know that what I'm doing. You acknowledge the fact that I probably had to put in some time to get where I'm at, to know what I know, to do what I do, right? But all that goes out the window when frustration kicks in. When frustration kicks in, now you're blindsided. Now your teacher becomes your teacher becomes a fool. Well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. She doesn't know what he's talking about. All because you don't understand the method to the madness, right? As a student, you want to be able to be patient to absorb everything from every lesson, even if it doesn't make sense, right? Right here, the young man, it doesn't make sense to him. Why do we know that? Because he's confused. He's frustrated. He's confused. Sirach says, I think it's Sirach. I might be wrong, but he says, understand first and then rebuke, right? If you're confused, you don't understand it yet. So don't rebuke it yet. Give it time. Give it time, right? We're going to keep playing it. Again, fair use.
You know why you only have one student? Because you don't know Kung Fu.
And they'll hit you with them low blows, baby. As a teacher, man, as a coach, right? They'll hit you with them low blows. Them students, when they get frustrated, they hit you with them low blows. That's why you only got one student. That's why ain't nobody. That's why when I signed up for your class because it was the only class open. That's why we be losing all them games because you don't know what you're talking about, right? Hey, in the truth, that's why it's only 3 of y'all in y'all camp, right?
And all that is not taking accountability and not thinking, man, maybe it's the students, maybe it's the players, maybe it's the people underneath that teacher, right? Maybe it's the performance from them because, for example, there'll be some college students, they'll band together, they'll go to the administration office and they'll all say this teacher needs to be removed because he's failing all of us and he's not doing his job. Or you guys are just being lazy, right? Or like the brother said, we're losing all these games because our coach is trash. Your coach played at the middle school, high school, and college level. I'm sure he's not trash. It's probably because you guys aren't listening to him, right? So a lot of times it's self-accountability, man. You don't take accountability for you messing up and not listening to your teacher, man. So, that's one of the first steps is understanding you got to let pride go when you're being taught.
That's a fact, man. That's a big one, man. Pride goes for destruction. He looked at his man and he said, you don't know Kung Fu, right? Like he knows it, right? He's a novice trying to get his feet wet in Kung Fu. And he's going to tell somebody else they don't know Kung Fu. Why? Because it's probably not what you see on TV, right? This don't seem. I've never seen this in any of the Jackie Chan movies, the Bruce Lee movies. I've never seen them putting on jackets. You must not know Kung Fu. You breaking down something in the Bible, right? Just because it's a scripture or a breakdown that the person is not familiar with, you don't know the Bible. You don't know the Bible. Because you ain't never seen that breakdown before and it's not making sense to you just yet, but just be patient. You don't know basketball, man. Got us over here doing all this cardio. Y'all seen Coach Carter? What did Lyle say? Hey, man, this ain't the track team, man. This ain't the track team. What Coach Carter said, he said, hey, Ding, ding, ding. You're right. And for that, you won the grand prize of 300 push-ups, right? He said, this ain't the track team, man. He understands, but what teachers often like to do and what students hate is to start with the fundamentals and the foundations that might seem pointless, that might seem not fun, that might seem belittling. But as a student, you can't be belittled. Again, that goes with the brother Azrael said, you got to take away that pride. Stop feeling hurt, right? And try to get what your teacher, your coach, your instructor is trying to teach you, right? And since we just went there with it, now I gotta bring the third video up after this one, right?
Come here. Check it on.
It's on. I already
Check it on. Check it on.
have a jacket.
Check it on. Check it on. Left foot back. Right feet back. Left feet back. Pick up your jacket.
Ooh, Mr.
Focus.
See right there, fair use again. See right there, man. You know, sometimes the student gets so frustrated and them insults, man, makes them speed the process up a little bit. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know. But what happens is sometimes, man, that the instructor has to step in and be like, hey, man, since you think I don't know what I'm talking about, put it on. You know what I'm saying? He's saying, do what I taught you. Whole time you don't know that your instructor was giving you game, solid stuff for you to use. It might, biblically speaking, it might seem like milk. It might seem like milk, but that milk is going to help you, right? It's important for you to get that milk, not for you to feel belittled. And you can see it on the young man's face when he's starting to put on the jacket and he missing the leg, the kick and everything. He's like, hold up, how am I doing this? How am I doing this? Because it's all about trusting the process, man. It's all about trusting the process and knowing that whoever you came to, hopefully, and we're going to get into it, but knowing that whoever you came to know what they're talking about. And once if you already made your mind up before you even went to that person, that person could help you, right? Right then and there, pride should be out the window. And what does Christ say? Come as what? A little child. A little child like you don't know nothing. I'm going to keep playing this.
Left back. Right foot back. Pick up your jacket. Stay. Pick up your jacket. Hang up and attitude. Harder. Hey, good. Check it off.
See, what you don't know as a student, is he was teaching you how to fight all along. See, you wanted to do all the jabs and the uppercuts and the kicks and all of that. He was teaching you defense. See that? Because as a student, you don't know what comes first. You don't know, oh, you should go to this precept before you go to this precept. You just see on YouTube the one-hit wonder, the knockout, and you want to use that precept over and over again, not knowing how to defend it, not know how to lead up to it, no nothing. You see what I'm saying? When you go to somebody, man, be patient enough for them to make it make sense. And before you know it, you'll be doing what you wanted to do all along faster than what you thought. You might think that you're not. In this video, he thought he was going nowhere, man. He was like, man, I done came to you day after day, and all you got me doing is putting on my jacket. Not knowing that he was learning how to fight the whole time. It might seem like you're not getting any smarter. It might seem like you're not getting better, right? But there's a method to the madness, man, when you have a teacher who really cares, right? Get that. I want to dive into a quick dynamic real quick. Because sometimes these things can be confusing, man, right? What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, what in the world? What I mean by that is you can have a conflict of interest, right? You can have a conflict of interest. What does that look like? Looks like your teacher might be your father, right? Your coach might be your father. right? What does it look like? Your teacher, your instructor might be your husband, right? These are things that we all run into. And so there's a conflict of interest, but you got to be able to compartmentalize. Your teacher, your instructor might be your friend, right? It might be your boss. You know what I'm saying? You might be working for a guy and you find out that he played basketball or he know karate, right? And you're like, hey man, your spare time, can you teach me? You got to be able to compartmentalize and keep one here and the other here, right? Put your pride aside and your emotions aside and understand and learn, right? Let me share this video real quick. This video that I'm about to share, if I can pull it up. No, it's not that one. Here it go. This video right here, man, I believe it was in the chat. I forgot who sent it, man. Was it you, Azrael, who sent this? Huh? The pastor and husband dynamic? It was you?
You on mute out. Yeah.
Con. So it's a decent video. And so when we're watching this, man, she's talking about her husband. So she's having to compartmentalize her husband and her husband being her teacher or her pastor. But in your life, you know somebody that might be a conflict of interest and you trying to learn something. It might be your coach and your father. It might be whatever, right? So keep that in mind. We're going to play this.
You to follow me. My husband is my pastor. My pastor is my husband. But even though my husband is my pastor is my husband, I cannot treat my husband like my pastor or my pastor like my husband. Because if my husband is pastor and is speaking to me as pastor, but I'm looking at him like he's husband, I may miss what he's saying to me as pastor.
Hey, man, that's a bar.
She said so much.
That's a bar, right?
Yeah.
Especially in this truth. Especially in this truth. Ladies have to understand. Now, her husband is the actual pastor in the church, but
okay, that's why I was confused there. Okay,
but here's my thing, though. There's no need to be confused because in the truth, right? In the truth, all of your husbands in the truth are pastors.
Mm-hmm.
You understand and know the Bible, right? So your husband is your husband and your husband is your pastor as well when you come into this truth. And one thing she's saying here is when my husband is trying to pastor me, I can't look at him as my husband. I can't. This the empathy that I would receive from my husband. The empathy that I would receive from my husband, I can't expect that from my pastor. My pastor should give it to me cut and dry, right?
That's.
You see what I'm saying? The empathy I would get from my husband, I can't get that from my pastor in certain situations, right? To go the extra mile that I might get from my husband, I might not get that from my pastor, right? When you're talking about somebody that's in his craft, in his bag, right? He carries it a little differently. He carries that bag a little bit differently. He carries his husband's bag a little bit differently than he carries his pastor bag. You got to understand and how to differentiate the both, right?
Yeah, you gotta take your emotions and feelings out of it, man. Because if you went to another man that was a leader, right? Whether he was a leader of a church or whatever, you're gonna have your emotions and your feelings out of it, of whatever he tell you, because he's not your husband. You understand he's not supposed to care about your feelings. He's supposed to care about your salvation. Right. So when your husband, right, is in that leadership role of a pastor or a teacher of the Lord, of the teacher of the word to you, you got to understand sometimes it's not going to sit right with your flesh, and you can't penalize him because he's giving it to you the way that the Most High God has given it to him to give to you. You can't get into your feelings because, he could have said that better and he's treating me like everyone else that he talks to, right? The truth is the truth. Salvation is your salvation, right? And you have to take it and receive it, right? And apply it. And, likewise, when he's your husband, right? You can't put on him, right, the role of a leader, right? For example, your husband, he wants to get intimate with you tonight, but you're tired. So you go and you slander him and say, aren't you supposed to be this man of God? Control your lust, blah, blah, blah. That's your husband, right? You have to be able to compartmentalize and separate the two and not treat them both like the same being, right? Because there's sometimes, in some instances, where he's this, sometimes in some instances where he's that, right? But in order for him to do both perfectly, you have to be able to tell which spirit he's coming in and accept it.
Right, man. You know, a big thing about this is one thing she's trying to get people to understand is as her husband is her pastor, and her pastor is her husband. When her pastor is talking to him like that, like Brother Azrael was kind of getting at, the pastor and your husband, he cannot be biased, man. Right? If your father is your coach, he can't be biased towards you, man. He got to treat you just like every other player. If your pastor is your husband, he can't be biased towards you. He has to treat you just like everybody else that he's pastoring. He has to teach you just like everybody else. It's not a oh, you need to withhold stuff from them and only give it to me. Right? It shouldn't be like that. You see what I'm saying? You have to be able to compartmentalize. You got to be able to put everything in its proper place and understand and have empathy and compassion for your instructor. Your instructor got feelings too now, right? You cross your instructor, you insult your instructors too many times. A lot of them not gonna want to deal with you no more. Think about it in the world. You go and you disrespect your professor in your class, he gonna tell you get out my office, man. Even in grade school, get out my class, go to the principal's office, right? Have some empathy to your instructors, right? They got feelings too, and they just and they genuinely are just trying to help you, right? I'm gonna keep playing.
And if my pastor is husband and is speaking to me as husband, but I'm looking at him like pastor, I may not be able to give him what he needs as husband. So even though
because just like Azrael said, man, if you looking at your husband, you know, your husband's trying to be soft. He's trying to show compassion to you. He's trying to give you love, all this stuff, right? And you holding a grudge over him from what he said to you as your pastor. He's trying to get, he got this switch, right? So he rebuke you, right? He rebuke you as I
got mixed personalities.
Right. He rebuke you as your pastor. You let some time go by, 10 minutes go by, and now he a whole different brother. He be loving on you and all this stuff, but you don't want to give him no love because he just rebuked you, right? Nah, man, you gotta be able to compartmentalize that thing. Know that he was being used as a vessel of the Lord to rebuke you, but he still love you. Just because he rebuke you don't mean what it was about to say. Has I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? You got to be able to compartmentalize, though, right? I'm gonna keep playing this.
And you know, it's that teacher dynamic because you know once that trust is infiltrated, right? The teacher or the pastor or the leader has a few options, right? Two options. They can either keep doing what they're doing, or they can just say, you know what, screw it, I'm done doing that. And so you're getting in the way of him doing his job to where, right, you're not gonna get that. It's either you're not gonna get that soft, loving husband that you always want, right, or you're not gonna get that stern.
Or you're gonna get a simp,
right? You're gonna get a simp, or you're gonna get you know, that you're not gonna get that rebuke that you need, right? So you can't hold that grudge because he's giving it to you, giving you truth, because then he's not gonna give you truth no more, and then you'll never know when you're going off. Same thing with coaching, right? A lot of times people talk about the son-father dynamic. If you have a son on your team, right? He looking at you like dad. All the other players looking at him like coach. You looking at him like dad. So when he don't tolerate anybody back talking him, you looking at him as dad. You back talking him in front of everybody else. So now either your dad's gonna stop coaching you, sit you on the bench, or he's gonna punish you, right? So that there's a fine line in keeping that respect boundary when it comes to those positions.
Man, that's a mighty point. If you pay attention to a lot of players and coaches, right? Whether that be NBA or high school, whatever, a lot of them say, "Hey, man, when we on that court, coach. as soon as we get in the car, I'm dad." You see what I'm saying? And they be like, "Man, you got to have the switch. You got to have the switch because if not, it's not going to work." And the same thing comes into it spiritually as well, man. You got to have a switch and be able to compartmentalize. I'm going to keep playing this.
Pastor, and my pastor is my husband. I cannot treat my husband like how I treat my pastor, and I cannot treat my pastor like how I treat my husband, because the needs of my husband is different from the needs of my pastor.
She married to a pastor.
And for those who get it, they get it.
Right, man. And so those who get it, man, you get it, man. And vice versa, man. Your pastor trying to tell you, he's your pastor now. He's trying to tell you something, and you sitting up there crying and telling him you just don't love me, all this stuff, just because he's trying to be your pastor, right? Your best thing to do is to pretend like he's a whole different man that you don't even know, like he's a stranger that you're going to, right?
It's a lot, man. A lot of people probably would have felt that same way when they came to Christ, man. Christ was that austere person. And he definitely told people how it was. He definitely told them straight up. And a lot of people probably got in their feelings because they went to him emotional. And he gave them a raw cut answer. And, they probably was hurt about it. That don't mean the answer was wrong, right? It's just the emotional side of how a person walk up to a person and already thinking emotionally. You gotta go to that person knowing this person gonna tell me the truth whether I like it or not. And I know it's gonna better me. It's gonna be to benefit me at the end. If I'm doing wrong, that person gonna let me know I'm doing wrong. I need to do better. Person gonna let me know I need to do better. Ain't no that person doing it just to hurt my feelings.
Man, that's a mighty point, man. A lot of time, hey man, we all done been there. A lot of times coming to somebody as a student, it's gonna feel like you being disrespected at sometimes. It's gonna feel like you being belittled at sometimes.
Yeah.
We've all fallen victim to it. And it's hard to put our pride to the side to get to the prize. What do I mean by that? It's hard to put your emotions to the side to get from the person what you want from them. You know what I'm saying? I say this all the time, and I tell people this all the time. One of my college coaches, Coach Cotry, he told us, man, he said, man, sometimes you got to play the game. And a lot of time in the teacher-student dynamic, you got to play the game. He told us, he said, hey, sometimes you don't like somebody.
Yeah.
You don't like what somebody's saying, but you still gotta get what you need out of the situation. Sometimes you gotta put a smile on your face, nod your head, and you kind of gotta curse them out in your head a little bit. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. But don't let it show outwardly, man. You don't want to burn those bridges between the teacher-student dynamic. And not all the time you're gonna have the perfect teacher. Not all the time you're gonna have the perfect coach that has the perfect temperament, right? That shows you compassion and all of that. But they're perfect in the instance of they got what you need, they got what you want, right? And so until you get what you came for, you got to play the part, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to play the part. And oftentimes it's hard to do, especially when you have conflict of interest, like my husband is my pastor is my husband, because you gotta live with this person, right? But you gotta be able to make that switch, right? I got one more video, and we're gonna get into some scriptures. Let me see.
Not trying to show his leg off, ain't he? I say he don't skip leg day.
That's funny, man. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear this.
Push this knee out, bro.
Man, blew his knee out, man. Because why? He didn't want to learn from his physical therapist that said, take it easy, right? He wanted to do his own thing.
My knees straight.
I'm playing, man. I'm playing. I'm trolling. We're going to play this last video, man. Hey, at the end of this video, hey, fair use again. At the end of this video, man, he gets to talking kind of fast. He got an accent. He gets to talking kind of fast. I don't know if he was talking fast or he's talking in his own language. And so you might not understand at the end, but you're going to be able to get the gist out of it, right?
If I'm sitting with a person who's, let's say, 10x more successful than me, when I sit on the table with them, I don't give my opinions. I don't give my views. I just sit and I listen and I shut up and listen. That's all I do. And people don't know how to listen. When they meet somebody successful, they want to say कि मेरा तो ऐसे ही होता है. It doesn't matter because आपका वैसे ही है इसलिए आप वहाँ हो आज, and उनका वैसा है इसलिए वो वहाँ है आज. तो उनकी बात सुनो. Learn to listen. Learn to be a good student. And I think that is so important because people don't know how to be a good student today.
Right, man. He said a mouthful right there. You on mute, brother. He said a mouthful right there. One thing he said though, a lot of things he said came straight out of the Bible though, you know. But he was saying, man, if I'm sitting next to a person that's 10 times more successful than me, right? I don't give my opinions. I don't chime in. I just listen, right? If I ask, damn, am I lagging, bro? I'm lagging.
Yeah. Your mouth, your voice different from your mouth.
One sec. It's crazy, dog. Still lagging.
Say it again.
Still lagging. Let me see something.
Yeah.
What about now? Testing.
Nah, it's better. Nah.
Right, I think it was just that window I was on. Let me see if I can I think it was just that window I was on. Let me see if I can share this one. But yeah, man, like I was saying, he was saying, man, sometimes you just got to sit there, be quiet, and soak up everything you need to soak. A lot of times we get into these conversations, we think it's supposed to be a two-way conversation, right? When you asking somebody, when you're seeking information, it's not a two-way conversation, man. Don't even feel like that. If you ask somebody for something, wait until they ask you a question, right? If they're not asking you a question, just sit there and talk. And that's where a lot of people get in trouble with people that they're seeking advice from. Because you ask this person for advice, right? They get to going, and you like, dang, this brother not shutting up, right? And they keep going, and then they might pause, but they're not done yet. Let them get it all out. And then you start to interject, right? And then they start telling you stuff like, hold on, right? And then you start to get offended, right? Because you're speaking out of turn. Because if you're asking somebody for something, let them finish, right? Let them ask you the question. Let them let you know when they're done speaking or they're done trying to teach a concept. And that's hard to do sometimes. It's hard to do sometimes. Speaking for myself, that's hard to do sometimes, right? But you got to be able to master that. Let's see here. Hopefully I'm not lagging. Looks like I'm lagging a little bit, but we're going to get through it. It should catch back up, hopefully. I think it happens when I'm sharing my screen. But let's see here. We're going to go to I want to get these first, man. I want to get some examples first. Let's go to the book of Exodus. We're going to go to the book of Exodus chapter 18. And this is a good example. I got a good example and I got a bad example of a student, right? Exodus 18, and we're going to start at verse 17.
Exodus 18 and verse 17. And Moses' father-in-law said unto him, the thing that thou doest is not good.
So his father-in-law came to visit him, and he's starting to, if you read, he's surveying what's going on, right? He's examining what's going on, and he's saying, hey, man, the way you running your ship is not good, right? Now, a lot of students would take this and be offended. A lot of students would, you get that first, you go to somebody for help, and the first thing they say is, why are you doing like that? That's not good. That's no good. And then you want to get offended. You want to get all these excuses on why you think it's good, all this, that, and the third, right? but just listen. You know what I'm saying? Let the person let you know why it's no good. They're not, when they tell you, hey man, what you're doing is no good. It's not for you to get offended in your emotions. It's not for you to explain yourself or why you did it. It's for they're setting the precedent, the precedent for them to tell you why it's not good. Let them finish, right? So he says, Moses, this is what you got going on. This ain't gonna cut it, right? Verse 18.
Thou wilt surely wear away both thou and this people that is with thee, for this thing is too heavy for thee. Thou art not able to perform it thyself alone.
Right there, man. You know, a lot of us, he's starting to explain. He said, hey man, you're gonna wear yourself out. You're not built for this. You're not built to do it this way. You're not him. A lot of times you might, I know playing basketball, and you know, you got assistant coaches come up to you, we have plenty of them, man. Hey, twin, this ain't your strong suit. You need to stick to this, that, and the third, twin. You need to leave that alone. I don't know what you're doing. We'll work on that in the offseason, but for right now, leave that alone. You can't do that. Stick to this, right? And it's gonna hurt a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But you got to trust in people that can see something outside of your point of view, because a lot of times on our point of view, we always right? A lot of times our point of view, we always the best. We always the underrated, the underdog. But people can let you know like where reality sets in your life, right? And you got to be able to be humble enough to receive that. A lot of times when people get the response like this, right? The first one was, this is no good. What you're doing is trash, right? You can't even talk to people straightforward like that no more, right? And the second comment was, you're not built for this, right? You don't need it. You don't need to do it this way. You need to do it this way. Check it out, right? A lot of us would get in our feelings, man. We can't get in our feelings like that, right?
Yeah. A lot of us would get in that I'll show you spirit, or I'll prove you wrong spirit,
right?
And just start listening.
In the truth, right? When we talking about the dynamic between a husband teaching his wife, right? A lot of times a husband come at his wife like this, hey, look, man, what, you know, she come with a question, she might be like, hey, can I use this scripture to do X, Y, to say this, that, and the third? And you're like, nah, why would you use that? Nah, that's no good. And you know, a lot of times women get kind of offended, like, why are you talking to me like that? I don't know. Well, I didn't know. Why don't you teach me? Why don't you do a better job of teaching me? It's like, bro, chill out. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, and then you keep going and you tell them, nah, you don't want to use this one. You want to use this one. But why can't I use this one? I seen so-and-so use this one. Because you're not equipped to use that one and defend that one. See, you can use this one, but if you use it, you're gonna have to be able to defend this part of it, this part of it, and this part of it. I don't think you're there yet to be able to do that. So instead of using that one, use this one. This one gonna get the job done. You're gonna be able to perform this one to the best of your ability, right? But a lot of times you can't even get to that explanation. The conversation is over with, right? Because emotions creep up. Be able to put your emotions to the side. Be humble. Take the constructive criticism, even though it's gonna hurt your pride, right? And learn from it, right? Verse 19.
Hearken now unto my voice. I will give thee counsel, and God shall be with thee. Be thou for the people to Godward, that thou mayest bring the causes unto God.
Right. So he's letting them know, hey, look, man, just listen to me, man. I'm not gonna steer you wrong. I genuinely want to do this, man, to help your relationship with God. And that's all your instructor in the truth is trying to do, right? That's all your instructor in the truth is trying to do. Keep going.
And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work they must do.
All right, so he's letting them know, I'm still on the same page with you. I know you got to teach them these laws, statutes, and commandments, but there's a better way you can do it, right? Right, go ahead.
Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them, to be rulers of thousands and rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s and rulers of 10s.
Right, so he's letting him know, like, hey, man, this is what you need to do. I'm telling you this because out of experience, you're gonna tire yourself out. I know you feel like you can handle this way, but there's an easier way. And a lot of us don't like taking the easier way. A lot of us like taking the hard way. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna skip forward to Moses's let me see. All right, so verse 18, 24. So keep in mind, man, from verse 17 all the way to 24 was Jethro speaking, and Moses did not interject not one time. Not one time, right? He said a lot too. And this is what Moses does, 18, 24.
So Moses hearkened to the voice of his father-in-law and did all that he had said.
A lot of us won't even listen to our father-in-law. If we, you know what I'm saying? A lot of us won't even listen to our in-law. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You don't know what's going on. You don't know me, right? A lot of people wouldn't want to listen to a friend or a friend of a friend. This cat don't know me, man. Right? He just saying that. He just saying that because he wants me to fail. He just saying that because I actually am doing the right thing, and he's envious. He's just saying that because he wants to be in my spot. So now he wants me to relinquish my power. So it makes it seem like I'm not a mic. You know, a lot of things creep in your head, man, when certain people are giving you genuine advice, right? Here's a news flash. How about you just try it first? We had a conversation with, it was about a couple years ago. I think about 2 years ago. We had a conversation with a brother, and he was saying, we all were saying, like, you know, there's a once upon a time where, you know, we used to butt heads, and we also used to try to do our own thing, and then we all kind of came to the agreement, like, man, we're better together. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if he's telling me to do something, I might not think it will work, but there's no harm in me trying it. There's no harm in me trying it, because if I try it, one, if it fails, you know, I can be like, hey, man, I tried what you said and you don't know what you're talking about. Two, if it works, it benefits me, and I do have the option to either let him know it worked or not. I would encourage you to give kudos where kudos is due, right? But it's not going to hurt you either way. It's not going to hurt you either way. This was a good example by Moses. He listened to his father Jethro, even after kind of being belittled, and he got the job done, right? Made his job easier on himself. Might have added a couple more years to himself. You know, you never know, right? But there's a good example. We're gonna stay in the book of Exodus. We're gonna get a bad example, right?
Kind of, you know, a lot of teachers, a good teacher, right? They want to see the success of their students, but a lot of times, for whatever reason, you know, the student or the player or the member, they think that the person that's teaching them is out to get them. They've convinced themselves that, oh, they don't really mean my good. They don't really want me to be successful. They don't believe in me. They don't think I can do it. I'm gonna show them. When a lot of times that teacher, that pastor, that coach, or whoever, they're literally wanting the best for you. And then when you're not listening to them, a lot of times they're looking at you crazy, like, hey, I really was just saying that to try to help you out because I want to see you succeed. But when you say, nah, I got it, I'm gonna do it this way, I'm gonna do it that way, I hear what you're saying, but you know, I feel like to them, they're like, okay, that's cool, but I don't think it's gonna work. They genuinely want to see you succeed, but for some reason, a lot of times we get the victim mindset and we think everybody's against us. And instead of taking a step back and thinking, you know what, maybe this person wants to see me do good in life. Maybe this person wants to see me understand it. Maybe this person actually wants me to get it, right? And a lot of times we check out from that reality because of pride.
Come on, man, this is a bad example of a student right here, right? I'll start a little bit before the point, but we're gonna get to it, right? Exodus 4:22.
Exodus chapter 4, and starting at verse 22, and it reads, "And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn."
Right.
Verse 23, "And I say unto thee, Let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn."
Right, man. So right here, he's letting Pharaoh know, hey, look, if you're not letting go of my people, the Most High say he's gonna kill your firstborn, right? And there was a clause to this that every firstborn that was not circumcised was gonna get killed, right? And so I just want to set that precedent before we get into it, because the example that I'm about to pull up, if you read your Bible, there's not really too much context surrounding this example, but you have to use context clues to understand what's going on, right? What am I talking about? Well, I'm about to explain, right? Verse 24.
Verse 24, and it reads, and it came to pass by the way in the inn that the Lord met him and sought to kill him.
Now this is talking about Moses, right? As Moses was traveling after he saw Pharaoh, right? Came to pass in the way in the inn, which was like a guest room or guest suite or whatever, right? That the Lord met him and sought to kill him. The Lord sought to kill him. Why did he seek to kill him? Right? We about to understand why.
Verse 25. Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet and said, surely a bloody husband art thou to me.
Right? We're going to go ahead and read verse 26.
Verse 26. So he let him go. Then she said, a bloody husband thou art because of the circumcision.
Now, what you see happening here, right, is most likely a combative student. What do I mean by that? I'm sure Moses came to his wife and said, hey, look, we got to circumcise the boys, right? I'm sure Zipporah, being a Midianite, I'm sure she responded in a way that wasn't very compliant. And so when you don't have a compliance, right, it turns into stubbornness, it turns into pride, and it almost kills Moses. Why? Because Moses was being disobedient to his master, right? And so now, as a student, she sees that, oh, the Most High, he ain't playing no games. And so what does she do? She you know what, you want the foreskins, I'll do it, screw it. She cuts the foreskins off and she throws them at Moses, man. She throws some secret part skin at Moses, man. Right? And then she continues to go and say, thou bloody man, here you go. Right? This is how you don't want to act as a student. When your instructor, when your teacher tells you to do something and you're relinquished to do it, right? You're not doing it, whatever. You fail to do it. And then finally you end up doing it because you understand where he's coming from, but you still do it with an attitude, right? We all play with players like that, right? He said, get on the line, we running another one. And then the player walk off. And then he finally come out the locker room, right? He get on the line with everybody else. And he running it, but he running it all slow, right? With an attitude. He throwing his hands and all of that, right? You don't want to be like that. Verse 26 says, he let him go. He said, a bloody husband art thou because of the circumcision. And she's mad because of the concept he was teaching her, that the boys need to be circumcised or the Most High is coming to kill them, right? She's mad at the concept that he's trying to teach her that's going to save them. Make that make sense. But a lot of times in the teacher-student dynamic, that's what takes place because the student doesn't understand, right, the severity of the lesson that's being taught. Some things are light, some things are heavy. It might seem weird and it might seem light, but some things can be heavy, right? So as a student, you don't ever want to second guess your instructor, and you always want to take the emotion out of it. You always want to understand it first and then rebuke. You want to understand why is he telling me to circumcise my boys, right? You want to understand that before you rebuke them. If not, man, you're going to end up with your son's dead or your husband dead or all of them, right? So understand that.
Colin, man, also in the teacher-student dynamic, understand that a teacher is to teach, but it's your job to study. You know, sometimes you're in class and the teacher says,
that brother ready to get the lesson over with, ain't it? We're gonna get there, brother.
Yeah, I was kind of piggybacking off of what you said about Zipporah, because she may not have understood because she didn't ask that question. But I was just saying, like, sometimes, if it go over your head in class, you gotta go and, see why that is yourself.
Con.
Blame the teacher all the time.
That's a part of taking initiative too, man. Right? It's a part of taking initiative too. We're gonna go here, Romans 12:1, right? Back at the top.
Romans 12:1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies as a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service.
As a student, man, it's your reasonable service to present your body as a living sacrifice. What do I mean by that? I mean that any opportunity that comes your way, you want to be present for it, right? If you're saying, hey, I want to learn the Bible more, right? Or even if you're saying, I want my husband to teach me more, the one of the simplest things you can do is to pay attention to whenever he is teaching. He doesn't always have to be a one-on-one with you when he's teaching the masses, when he's teaching the lesson, right? Where are you? Right? And as I there should be never a time where your husband is teaching and the number count says 0 at the top, right? Unless you in the same room with him, right? Because if you're diligently trying to learn, if you're earnestly trying to be the best student you can, you're gonna make yourself you're gonna present yourself in front of every opportunity possible. Why do I mean that? In other aspects, in the classroom setting, we talked about this at the beginning. To be the best student in the classroom, you're gonna show up on time. You're gonna sit in the front. You don't want to miss a second of it. Because you don't want to be able to be like, did I miss something when the test comes through? When you're a basketball player, right? Football player, whatever, you want to show up to practice. You want to stay after practice, get some more work in. You want to come throughout the day, put some more shots up. You want to go visit the coach, ask some questions like, hey man, what do you need from me? What can I do better? What should I be working on? Right? You're gonna present yourself as your reasonable service in every opportunity that comes available to you. If you're not trying to grab hold on every opportunity that's available to you, you have to ask yourself, right? You got to ask yourself, am I really trying to learn this? Or am I trying to make a point about something else? Right? Because a student of something, man, it doesn't matter to them who's teaching. It doesn't matter to them who's trying to show them something, right? Matter of fact, it doesn't even matter if an instructor's not even there. They're gonna get in the gym by themselves, like the brother Azrael was getting to, right? So you want to be able to take advantage of every single opportunity that is presented. If not, you got to question, am I being the best student I can be?
Also, if you present yourself, man, let the teacher know, or whoever is guiding you know that you are taking initiative and that you actually care, and they'll be more passionate and more patient with you because they know you show up and you doing your part. If you don't do your part, they're liable to be lazy themselves when teaching you because they think it's going in one ear and out the other.
Right, man. You know what I'm saying? What that looks like, hey, dang, Elizabeth, she really trying to get this down. Right? She really trying to pass my test. She in my office every day. Right? I really want her to pass because she putting a lot of time to this. I'm gonna make sure she understands this. Right? It's a dynamic, it's a give and take dynamic, man. But sadly to say, the student has to initiate it, bro, in everything in life. The student, and we're gonna get into it, but all through even out the Bible, man, the Most High wants you to ask and petition him. He doesn't always fulfill what you want without you asking. Right? This is Ecclesiasticus 6:35.
Ecclesiasticus 6:35. Be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee.
So a lot of times, man, you want to present yourself available to all opportunities, right? Like we were talking about. And a lot of times this is even within conversations that you're not in, right? Sometimes it might be a conversation that somebody's having with somebody else, right? You can learn from that. Your instructor, sometimes on a basketball team, not just the coach, but maybe the best player on the team is trying to show you something. And you can learn by watching him play and use what he tried to teach you on other people and seeing that it works, right? But you got to be available in the moments. You know, oh man, we're having a team pickup, man. We're gonna have some runs, man, after practice. It's not mandatory. If you want to come and get a few runs after practice, though, you can stay, right? So you stay back and you watch you studying the star player, man. How he doing that? Oh, okay, I see where he did there, right? You want to be able to present yourself, which is your reasonable service, and take advantage of every opportunity, right? Let's see here. Trying to get through this, man. I didn't even know we was at an hour, man. See that? We're gonna go to Matthew. Let's go to the book of Matthew real quick. Matthew 7 and 7.
This is Matthew 7 and 7. Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you.
Right. This is the concept that even Christ was acknowledging, man. You want something, you need something, ask for it. Right? Ask for it. Now, here's the thing, man. The Most High, he knows all. Earthly masters, earthly instructors, earthly coaches, earthly teachers, they're not mind readers, man. And, you know, I know it pains a lot of people to know that. I know it's not fair, but it does require you to open your mouth and ask, right? What do they say? Closed mouths don't what? Don't get fed.
Get fed.
If you want to be fed something, right? If you want to be able to get something that you need, sometimes you got to open your mouth and ask for it, right? Let's go to the book of James. I'm gonna try to fly through some of these, man. James 4 and 2. Right. Go ahead.
James 4 and 2. Ye lust and have not, ye kill and desire to have, and cannot obtain. You fight in war, yet ye have not because ye ask not.
Right. You fight in a war because you have not because ye ask not. Right. You're fighting a war at home with your husband, man, because you want him to teach you something, right? But you're not getting taught because you're not asking him anything. So now you got a war going on at home, man, because you keep telling your husband, "Hey, teach me," and your husband looking at you like, "Teach you what?" Because contrary to popular belief, man, husbands, man, we don't got it all figured out. We can't read minds. And one thing about a teacher is an instructor, they don't want to waste time teaching you something that you already know, right? Because it's wasting time. And a lot of times, if you're using good student etiquette, like we've been talking about, I can be teaching you for 45 minutes about something afterwards, and I'll be like, "You done been a good student." Afterwards, I'm saying, "You got any questions?" And you tell me, you hit me with, "Well, I already knew that, but it was good." It's like I just wasted 45 minutes, right? But that will happen a lot when you're not being vocal, man, and you're not, and you leaving it to your instructor to let, hey, man, teach you what he thinks you don't know. It'll work a whole lot better. For instance, in a classroom setting, the teacher of the class, they're teaching all these people. They don't know what you're lacking on. They don't know what's confusing to you. You got to make the time to go to the teacher's office at the end of class and be like, "Hey, I need help with X, Y, and Z." Right? Same thing with a coach. Now, a coach, sports or actions are very active, right? And what I mean by that is sometimes a coach can understand what you need help with because he's seeing you play, right? But again, if you're not playing regularly, for instance, for us, in a camp setting, right? We got brothers that teach. We got brothers that are trying to work themselves into teaching. When you got a brother that's trying to work himself into teaching, now you become kind of like a coach. And now, and the dynamic is weird, but you can't compare your dynamic to somebody else's dynamic. So now I can see this brother teaching. I can see where he needs help at, right? And I can come to him. But if you're watching that through the screen, right, don't get jealous of the dynamic that he has. Understand the dynamic that you have as a student at home, right? That doesn't get to practice this stuff out, right? And understand that you may have to ask where another person might not. There's two different dynamics there. Again, you got to be able to compartmentalize though and understand what type of student teacher dynamic that you fall under, right? Let me go to Proverbs real quick.
Yeah, in a math class, you may struggle with long division, but your math teacher, he's teaching the class majority multiplication because he thinks the class needs to work on multiplication, but you got multiplication down pat. But you struggling hard with long division. You hoping long division ain't on the test, but you don't say nothing to him. So now he don't go over long division. And so now when you fail the test, you're telling your parents, well, he didn't go over it in class. All he was going over was multiplication. You ain't never raised your hand and say, hey, can we go over page 38? Can we go over section 7A when it talks about long division? And I'm sure that teacher would have loved to go down long division with you, but you didn't say nothing. Right? So you gotta speak up.
Come on, man. Closed mouths do not get fed. This is Sirach 6:36, right? Go ahead.
Sirach 6:36. And if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door.
Right. Did it say that the man of understanding should be wearing out your door? No, the person that is seeking the information is wearing out the steps of the man of understanding's door. So again, you got to take initiative. You got to understand the dynamic, and you got to be coming to that person nonstop with stuff, right? You got to be coming to that person because that person's not always going to come to you, right? And in the real world, the master, he chilling, man. He chilling. He done proved himself and everything. The people that want to know something from him, they come to him. Right? If you go to like the Peach Jam, if you go to, which is a basketball tournament, if you go to any basketball game and you see a famous coach or whatever, or even Michael Jordan, right? A lot of times you see them sitting down and people coming up to them, right? They're not really going to other people. People are coming to them, right? Because when you're a master, you understand. When you're a master of something, when you're a instructor of something, when you got it going on, when you got it figured out, you don't have to go nowhere. People are gonna come to you. As the Israelites, that's what we're looking forward to. Is other nations coming to us to understand this Bible, right? Even Christ says, "How can I draw a man? How can I I forgot what he's saying. I can't really paraphrase it, but how he's saying that he doesn't call any man except the Father draws them to him. Paraphrasing, right? And it's the same way with any instructor, master, teacher, coach, right? It's the same dynamic. You got to be drawn to that person, but make sure it's the right person, right? Let's go to Proverbs real quick. Proverbs 13 and 4. Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 13 and 4. Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 4, and it reads, "The soul of the sluggard desireth and hath nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat."
Right. Again, just saying to take initiative. The soul of the sluggard, or the one that thinks that they should be spoon-fed or people should come to them, they're going to end up with nothing. You're going to end up not being taught. You're going to end up not learning anything. Right. But the soul of the diligent, this is the person that goes to the teacher's office after class and all of that. They're diligent. they should be made fat. They get them straight A's, right? Let's see here. Let's go to, I'm gonna skip some of these. We're gonna go to, was that 2 Timothy? 2 Timothy 2:15. This is a classic. It's a classic. Go ahead. This is what Brother Azrael was getting into. I think it's on Brother Obadiah.
2 Timothy 2:15. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth.
Another dynamic of a good student, man, you know how to study on your own, man, right? After you're being taught, you go and you refresh yourself, make sure you understand it. What happens when that happens? Oftentimes, either you can understand it or you come up with more questions to ask, which in all is a good thing, right? In all is a good thing. And what's going to happen when that happens, man? You're going to be able, once you're getting taught and you go into study to show yourself approved, a few things are going to happen. Let me show you Proverbs. I don't know if I want this one first, but we're going to get it first regardless. Proverbs 27:17. Go ahead.
Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend.
Right, man. And so now we're getting into, you go study on your own and you got to put this stuff to practice, man. You got to find conversations to where you can squeeze in what you've been taught. You got to find moments where you can squeeze in what you've been taught. Sometimes it's not even a conversation. Sometimes it's, a characteristic that you're trying to work on, right? An attribute that you're trying to work on, right? Let's go to Acts real quick. Acts 17 and verse 11. Go ahead.
Acts 17:11. And it reads, these were more noble than those in Thessalonica, in that they received the word with all readiness of mind and searched the scriptures daily, whether those things were so.
Right. And so when you iron sharpening iron, now it's time to go out with your peers, man. Go out amongst your peers, and you're gonna reason with folks, man. Does it say this in here? It don't say it in this one, but I thought it did. But you're gonna go out and you're gonna reason with folks, man, and you're gonna right here it says you're gonna search out whether those things were so. The things that you were taught, you're gonna see whether it's barbecue or mildew, whether your instructor knows what he's talking about or not. Same thing for basketball. You know, somebody's teaching you how to shoot, and you know it don't make sense to you. It feel weird, or the mechanics they trying to show you. But until you can knock it, you got to go try it out, man. And if it don't work, okay, you can let it go. But if it do work, now you understand who you're dealing with, a man of understanding. That was Acts 17:11. And so one thing I'll paraphrase this last one. We all notice this one. Well, I'll go to it. I'll go to it, man. This is the last precept for today. It's going to be in Sirach. It's another classic. And so this is very key for every student. And we use this scripture for a lot, right? But especially for a student, this is very key. And I'll tell you why. So this is Sirach, verse 6 and verse 18, I believe. No, this is not what I want. What do I want? What do I want? Salakia. While I look this up, man, somebody can read this though.
Sirach 6:18. My son, gather instruction from thy youth up, so shalt thou find wisdom till thine old age.
Right. Gather instruction from thy youth up so you can find wisdom in your old age, man. You want to be able to stack these stuff up and don't forget them, man. You want to be able to retain these things. So it is in Sirach. It's going to be chapter 37. Here we go. In verse 12. As a student, you want to be able to identify somebody like this. Go ahead.
Sirach 37 and 12. But be continually with the godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry.
Right. This is it, and at the end of this, man, it's really just telling you this is going to be somebody that wants you to succeed, right? But you want to be able to pick you out a godly man, one that you know has understanding, one that you know that keeps the commandments, one that you know has the best interest for you, one that has a track record of knowing what they're talking about. That way you can trust this person, even when this person doesn't seem like they're making sense. We seen in the first clip of the Karate Kid, even when it doesn't seem like they're making sense. You know that you chose this person for these attributes. So that thought comes to your mind like, bro, this person don't know what they're talking about. You kick it out and you trying to get what they're trying to tell you, even if it's confusing or you don't understand, right? When you pick a person with having a standard, now you can let go. You can allow yourself to be vulnerable and learn from this person, trusting in what this person is teaching you. And when you go out, you can trust that this person isn't gonna teach you something to leave you hanging, right? You're gonna trust that the things that this person, the tools that this person gave you, you're gonna be able to go out and be productive with, and you're not gonna be able to be scared to try these things because the person that you're going to, you already know, they know what they're talking about. That makes sense, right? That's all I got. Any brothers got any other precepts or anything?
Like, hey,
My lesson, man.
Come on, man. It went a little bit longer than I hoped for, man, but it was a good one nonetheless. Hope you guys were edified, man. Giving all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of His only begotten Son, who's an instrument of salvation for the nation, who also said, if you're not helping to gather, you're helping to scatter, right? By default. So gather yourself together, O nation not desired, right? Send this to somebody that might be struggling with a teacher-student dynamic, man. Send this to somebody that is trying to figure it out, that needs some help. And sometimes, man, the advice that we give, it's not very easy to take. It causes for a lot of soul searching and a lot of humbling. And that's one thing people don't want to do when they're going to learn something, right? But we have to be able to humble ourselves when we're asking somebody to teach us. Why? When you ask somebody to teach you, you're off rip letting them know that you're going to submit to them. And you have to have that in the back of your mind, right? It's not just for a husband and a wife, it's for any situation. If you go into somebody seeking something from them, you got to submit to that person, man. They might say something that might offend you. They might belittle you, right? A lot of times it's not even on purpose, right? But you got to be able to take that, roll with the punches until you get what you need from that person, right? And then if you want to, when it's your turn to teach, you can eliminate what that person did that made you feel some type of way, right? Iron sharpens iron in that way as well. But nonetheless, man, we'll see you guys next time. I think we'll be on tomorrow, Lord willing. Hope this was edifying, man. Like I said, share this with somebody that might be struggling with that teacher-student dynamic. And we'll see you guys next time. I say shalom, shalom, and shalom.